Hello artists, Mrs. Castle here, and we are going to talk about shading a cube in Sketchbook using graphite-like tools. And we've done a couple of others, and the first thing I'm going to do is import a picture so that we can use it as a reference. Now remember, wherever you put it, that's where it's going to stay in that layer, so put it out of the way. Actually, and as soon as I click done, I'm done. I can't move it anymore. So there we go. Now I'm not going to draw in this same layer. I'm going to pop down. This is the layer I'm in right now because it's highlighted in blue, and that's the layer that contains the photo. I want to be in this layer down here. So when I shade or whatever, if I go over top of my reference, I won't color over it or shade over it, and I can hide it when I'm done. So don't leave them in the same layer. All right, I'm going to start off with my F pencil, which is on the H side. I don't remember ever using an F pencil or having to purchase one when I was in art school. So let's start. I'm drawing, let's go to this and change to red. I'm drawing this. Let's make that a little bit bigger. I'm drawing this edge first. Okay. Let's go back to black and that other layer. Now I'm going to draw this line right here. Now it goes diagonally up. It will not go out straight like this. In our heads, we know the bottom is flat, but we're not drawing the bottom that's touching, that we cannot see, that is touching the surface of the table. We are drawing the way that side seems to go. All right, so back to my pencil, and I'm going to do the same thing on this side, going up diagonally. So I have done that. I've done this point for that corner. I've done this corner. Oops. Wrong layer. I'm forgetting. I've done this corner, and this corner where those two sides come together. Back to this one, back to black. Okay. Now I'm going to draw the top corner right there where the top and the side come together. It goes up diagonally also. And then I'm going to do this corner where this side and this side come together. It goes up diagonally. That top bent a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to do this back, or the back edge of the top side. And sometimes actually, first, I'm going to do this side. I'm going to finish this side of the box by going. Now, I know there's a little bit of extra line here and an extra line here, but that doesn't matter. You use the part that you need and erase the rest. And that's one of the cool things about Sketchbook is you can get rid of anything almost completely. And now I'm going to do this edge here, and I'm going to, okay, now I can do Now I can do this edge up here. And let's see. Oops. Okay, let's undo that. If yours goes way up like this and it ends up looking like a house, it's the back side is, or the back edge is going up too much. If you go like across like this, it's not a cube at all. We want this side and this side back here to be parallel, and this side and the side that will be back here to be parallel. So I'm going to kind of sketch those two sides in, and it should, yep, that's kind of bent. There. And now I don't worry about excess lines, especially in Sketchbook, because I can erase and the line goes away completely. There's no mark in my paper or whatever. Okay, that kind of curves up some too. Oops. Back to my pencil. Okay, so I'm gonna see, no worries. I'm not freaking out about it. I'm just seeing something that doesn't feel right and I fix it. Okay, that's better. Okay, so in this photo, we don't really have an edge of a table, so I'm not going to worry about putting it in. But I'm going to go to my 2B, and my pencil point is kind of big, like we talked about before. In this photo, most of the light is hitting, let's switch to this layer. Most of the light is hitting that side. That's the lightest side. This side up here is very slightly darker. I'm going to erase that. And this side here is the darkest side. There's some light hitting that's reflecting. The light's coming down and bouncing up onto that side from the surface of the table. So there is some lightness, but there's a lot of dark shadow down in this section. Okay. All right. Back to my original layer. Okay, so I'm going to do my darkest side first. I'm going to shade this in. Sometimes I like to do my edges first, but sometimes that can be problematic because my value gets kind of out of whack. But as long as I remember that and even it out, I'm not going to worry about a lot of detail in my shading. If you see it clearly and you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Go ahead, make my day. If you don't see it all that well and you want to try it, yeah, push yourself beyond what you challenge yourself. That's what I want to say. Challenge yourself. In my art over the past year, I've been challenging myself to do things that I wouldn't ordinarily take on. I've had successes, but I've also had some failures. But that's when we learn, by trying things and seeing what we can accomplish. Okay, so this top side right here is just ever so slightly darker than the bottom, so I'm going to turn my opacity down so I can shade very lightly. Now now this is a wooden block, so it has what we call local color. Oops. Wood is not white. It's sometimes very dark, it's sometimes light. This is kind of a medium color, and we know that it looks medium compared to the other values in it. So I'm gonna make it light by just skimming some color or some graphite, digital graphite across my paper, my digital paper. But now I can kind of see that, we would usually want the value of the object to create the lines, but I know I have a pencil line there. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my menu for just a minute so I can see over here. I can see over here where my shadow is. Okay, about a third-ish of the way up, my line for my shadow comes out, and from this side my shadow goes up diagonally a little tiny bit. It's a long line, so it's kind of slightly hard to tell, and it's going to look like a house sort of laying on its side. Oops, I need to go that way, and then not that far down. I need my eraser. And bring that back out. This edge is longer than this edge. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish, but it still kind of looks house-like. Okay, now that I've got the general shape of my shadow, notice the line is sharp here, and it's fuzzy everywhere else, because this is closest to the object. So I'm going to make a sharper line there, and I'm going to let the rest kind of be fuzzy. And I'm going to start shading in the general shape. Now I am going to pay attention to a little bit of detail in the shadow. And that's the darkest area right under here. Here's this little triangle that's the darkest. And I'm going to make my tool a little bit smaller so I can be a little bit more precise. And I am going to change my mind and darken this part up a little bit more. I can't let it go. So I'm going to darken the shadow up down here closest to where the object, my cube, is touching the table, and I'm going to add just a tiny bit of darkness along that edge. I should make it more a finer shadow or a finer line, but we want to have this done fairly quickly. Okay. What else do I want to do? Even that up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Okay, so do the three sides of your cube and the shadow, If you want to challenge yourself, see if you can get the dark shadow down here and under here, and there's even a secondary shadow that comes out this way. And there's a little bit of shadow in the, or a little bit of darkness in this corner and in this corner up here along that edge. And even, okay. Challenge yourself, see if you can make it as much like the cube as possible. Okay, before you turn it in, turn off that layer, and I'm going to erase where that I made my mistake there. What mistake? I don't know anything about a mistake. Okay, then the menu up there, save, share, flattened image, save image. And now my my cube is in my photos. All right, I can't wait to your cube, and I will